There's a lot
Hey
to like.
there. Thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to Firing Range, a podcast to talk about all things Destiny, weapons, abilities, loadouts, and the sandbox at large, and maybe even counterbalance on shotguns. Because tonight we have a special guest with us, a streamer, overall great guy, and maybe one of the dirtiest primary shots I've ever seen in my life. Please introduce Ill Physics with no web camera, but that's okay. What's up, man?
Yeah,
How are you?
I was up late with Juicy last night. I gotta say.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yo, what's going on? It's great to be here.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it, especially on kind of shortish notice. Yeah, Drew,
Of course.
unfortunately, not here tonight. But yeah, really appreciate it. We're gonna be calling
Oh man,
him
is there feedback coming through? I'm hearing a.
feedback.
Oh, I see it. Got it now.
You good? Audio issues,
I'm
the
good
worst,
now. Is it me?
the worst, right?
Yep.
As long as we're good now, awesome. Yeah, so we'll be calling Ill Physics Tony, in case you at home are wondering who the hell they keep talking to when they're saying Tony. Yeah, Drew not here, but it's going to be a great show. We have a lot to talk about. Guardian games are live, and there's a lot to talk about there. And out of nowhere, Bungie dropped a thick boy Wednesday TWAB with plenty of information on the future of roaming super tuning and other various sandbox shenanigans. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Cammy, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Enjoying getting used to Guardian games. It's just so jarringly different, but I'm sure we'll talk about that in a sec.
Believe me, we definitely will.
Mhm.
Cool guy. Buddy, how are you?
Doing great. Doing really good, man.
Awesome. Tony, what about you? For the people who might be unfamiliar with you or your content, want to give them a quick intro paragraph as to who you are and what your vibe is?
Gotcha. My name is Ill Physics, aka Tony. If you did not previously know me, I am a content creator. I create content on Twitch, primarily for Destiny 2, and also I'm the co-host along with Lego LaFlash, the GOAT Fusion Rifle, the content creator extraordinaire on YouTube. Make sure you go follow Lego LaFlash on YouTube. And of Destiny Massive Breakdowns podcast. And, just love doing that. Love that community. But I'm a PvP main. And, a lot of my content is about hand cannons and shotguns. I don't know. Like that used
My
to
man.
be a beloved, corner of Destiny 2. I feel like, tides have shifted over the years, but nonetheless, it's what I enjoy doing. And much of my content is actually very much improvement focused and very much also community building as well. And so we just have a fantastic community over there, and just been full time doing that for the last few years, and building that up and just enjoying myself. So I appreciate you guys having me out.
Anytime. A goddamn renaissance man. And M&K player, correct?
Correct. M&K.
And a filthy hunter main, right?
Mainly, it's only because you don't have Icarus Dash on multiple characters. I'm
Fair
sorry,
enough.
multiple subclasses. If you had Icarus Dash on multiple subclasses, then I'd be in there. If Blink, we cultivated that a little bit and got maybe a little bit more directionality. We've got I'm not about leaks or like spoilers and things like that, so I'll let people kind of like figure that stuff out there. But we might have a little bit some spicy things happening with Blink next season. But yeah, just all about the movement tech just in general, and that's a large part of what I enjoy about this game.
Oh, what's that? Hold on, wait a minute, boys. I'm getting a side call from Bungie legal team. I may need to pick that up later. A little bit of a...
Did I say something wrong?
No, I'm just playing.
Okay.
Uh,
Just want to make sure.
no, I'm just fucking around. Cammy,
What's up?
talk to me about Guardian games. I basically, hold on, before we get into that, it's just funny that like, if you could listen to the recording of what happens before the show goes live, like I basically have to get everyone to shut the hell up because we're all talking so much about whatever we're going on. Oh, look at that puppo.
No,
in
it's
the
the pups, man.
background.
I love
Oh,
those things.
man.
Oh
He
my
blends
god.
in with the
He
I like
blends in.
every
He's got the
single
natural
picture I
camo.
see.
Cool guy
That
has two
distracted me
great
so
dogs.
bad.
Oh, they're just great dogs. Is that Chief right there? I think it's Chief.
Yeah, he's
He's a good boy.
he's coming in.
Anyway, there he goes. Yeah, we have the the Destiny 2 chatter happens before we go live, and then I'm like, hush, we have to hit the go live button, yada
Yeah,
yada.
Fallout's all business. He's going down a list of things we
All
need to do
business.
before the show starts. And cool guys over here, this scout rifle, guys.
So we're gonna get to the cool guy scout rifle talk because I really want to talk to him about it. But Cammy, tell me about your feelings on Guardian games and specifically maybe the Supremacy.
I'm gonna go with the history of this, right? So I've sat out most of the Guardian games just because like my player identity in Destiny is never really tied to a single class. I play everything under the sun. And so the fact that I have to like compete against the classes when I don't really have any horse in the race, it's just not the activity for me. But despite that, for years I've always asked, can we get a PvP mode with Guardian games? Something, maybe multi-team doubles, and they came out with Supremacy finally. So I got my wish, and it's kind of like a monkey's paw wish because it's not exactly the way I thought it was going to turn out. So Supremacy, you have to get the kill, they drop a crest, you pick up crest to get extra point, and they have a special version of the matchmaking where you can search with your own class. So let's say I'm searching on Hunter, all 5 of my teammates are going to be Hunter against another team that is either all Warlock or all Titan. And I think that gimmick is really fun. But there's one thing that kind of sours the experience for me, and that would be the fact that when you pick up the crest, you get super energy. So it turns into Mayhem Light if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Escalating super energy, by the way.
Escalating, true.
I have to reiterate, Shadebinder, longest super in the game. I had one in under a minute, and then the next minute, I had another. So
That's
2
the one that stood out to
Shadebinder
me.
supers in under 2 minutes, first game I played.
That one is extra rough.
First 2 minutes of the match.
Because
Yeah,
as
you
Tony...
never see that. You never see that super on the board because the cooldown is so high on
That's
it, right?
right.
I was playing Wormhaven. I think somebody popped off. They had like 5 shade binders. I've never seen. That's more shade binders than I've seen from a single person in like a month.
Yeah, there's a couple things that like add to it that we've got in the game since, but the game mode itself really amps up the slow charging supers.
It does a lot.
Yeah.
And as Tony mentioned, it's kind of like it gets stronger and stronger the longer you stay alive and the more crests you pick up. So like near the beginning of the match, you can pick up a couple crests, doesn't give you that much energy. But if you're really good at staying alive and you're really good at like letting those crests kind of chill on the ground for like the right moment and you're racking up kills, I've seen clips of where people end a roaming super and then they go back and pick up the crest that they were leaving on the ground, and then they immediately get another roaming super. And it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So that's the negative about Supremacy. The positive, and I think it outweighs it, is that this is the first like respite of it being connection-based matchmaking instead of skill-based matchmaking. And it is a jarringly different experience.
Yes.
I'm still not adjusted to it myself.
Yeah.
I think connections honestly are crispier right now, at least for me, than the last time there was connection-based matchmaking. Personally, I'm not sure.
I
if
haven't had
anybody's
that many
similar
connection
experience.
issues. It is Destiny, so you know the odd melee or whatever. But
Sure,
of course,
sure,
for the
sure.
most part,
Yeah,
it's been really good.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I've played a lot of Guardian games, Supremacy. I haven't had one extremely laggy player, and we know that like there's some lag every now and again, but there's that one that will continually be laggy. I kid you not. I played just one control game. 2 people on the enemy team were just Time Lords. Right, immediately I went right back to Supremacy and it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
What Bungie needs to realize, hold on,
oh boy, here we go.
dude, I'm dead serious. Like,
Here we go.
the game needs to run properly.
First and foremost.
Period.
Yep.
Like we can just stop there actually, because like the experience from a peer-to-peer connection-based system cannot rely on jumping continents. It cannot, dude. It hasn't worked for 9 years in Destiny. Has not worked. So like when you force upon this, and I understand it starts expanding ranges, but I've had so many games over the past 6 months, and I understand what they're trying to do. Like, I'm not against skill-based matchmaking. There needs to be some folders and files in place to separate. However, like when it gets so bad, when you start matching Denmark, Netherlands, Japan,
Right. Sure.
huge issue with that in peer-to-peer, man, because Destiny does not run properly when that happens. Period. So
Oh boy. You know how we have
End rant.
The meme every time Drew brings up anything related to cone talk, we're like, yes. Mark your bingo card at home, take a shot because Drew's bringing up cones. I feel like every time we always, even if it's for 1 minute, we are compelled to talk about matchmaking in detail.
I mean, I'm jumping on board with Cool Guy 100%. I just feel like the game, like the gameplay has to have integrity first and foremost.
Sure.
Otherwise, I try to explain, people are just like, hey, Tony, I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to be receptive. How are things different in your games versus my games? I'm just an average player. I don't have much time to play per week. I think I'm something like a 0.9 KD or something like that. And I'm just like, there's two things, P2P, and the game just doesn't play correctly. It's just really janky, for lack of better words. I think a lot of us understand what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, registration.
And then on the other end of things, it's just the most oppressive, one-dimensional, sandbox meta of the most oppressive.
That's what I wanted to talk about
in the game. Period.
The tangible part of SBMM.
It is just a completely, it's just harder, right? No, it's not just harder. It's literally like breaking down what we all love, what is fun about Destiny PvP, utilizing a bunch of different weapons that we ended up picking up in PvE or PvP, trying out that stuff, just being silly. You can't do any of that whatsoever. You can't do any of that. And it's stricter right now than I've ever seen it, since year one, since Destiny 2's inception. I literally can't equip. If I hop into skill-based matchmaking, I can't equip more than 2 builds. I think maybe even more than 1 build. I literally have to put on my arm correspond trip mines, and I have to put on a 120.
How dare you?
And that's it.
I understand.
It's so hard to even have this discussion because every time I think we're gonna break new ground and have people kind of understanding the other side of the fence, I see things like True Vanguard's tweet today about how he put out a video the other day, and I immediately called
wait
it.
to play Destiny PvP today.
Immediately called it, where he just put out a video like, "Wow, I'm having fun with Supremacy. This is great." And then he gets a comment like, "You're just a piece of shit. And you want to stomp noobs." It's really hard to have the matchmaking conversation.
I saw a player with a bow and an auto rifle. I've never seen that in months. And they weren't on my team.
Yeah. It's like a goddamn unicorn.
It was a unicorn. Variety.
Yeah.
Wearing the Mask of the Quiet One too.
Good lord. I mean, did you take a picture?
Right?
Otherwise no one will believe you. I mean, either way, if you can manage to have a discussion without ripping somebody's head off and you're listening at home, I encourage you to weigh in, in any of our Twitch chats, YouTube, Twitter, yada, yada, whatever, about how you feel about the mode, because it's really funny. Yeah, go ahead.
Contrast the positive things I'm saying about the CBMM with the just meta variety and whatnot, with also saying I want the comp playlist to be even stricter and be more rank based and have a higher ladder to climb with better opponents to play. I still think it's a little too loose right now. I want to play good opponents, but I also want there to be another place to not have to basically play a second version of the comp playlist.
Right. Which is why, even though I hate the matchmaking talk, because it always brings out the worst in people, not because I want to avoid the matchmaking talk. It's just, I feel like it's nice to have multiple options, right? I feel like
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, some players would be really, really angry if it were 100% connection based across the board. Other people would be very upset if it were 100% skill based across the board. So I feel like it's nice to have options for both. But that's just me. Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you. I think that at this point, okay, say for example, Quick Play stays skill-based matchmaking. Okay, any special event such as Iron Banner, such as Guardian games, something along that line, make that connection-based.
Sure.
So we have some reprieve, basically. I just don't see it as a black and white. Everything's got to be an extreme, whenever people discuss these things, we can have both people, and I'm more than willing to give up ground and to compromise, because I want to make sure, I'm invested in everybody having fun. And I also understand that in order to do so, some people aren't, don't need to be playing against me. very
Sure,
often.
right?
Basically.
Yeah.
You know, I completely understand that.
I get
completely
what you're
understand
saying.
that.
It has been refreshing for me though to look on my Twitter feed and see, like, for example, like Miss 5000 Watts, who she's just been like obsessed with playing Supremacy. Like she's been, you know, doing Monster Hunter and Wild Hearts and all that other fun stuff. But like,
I'm so happy to see that on the feed that other
it's
people are
fun.
enjoying the game again.
People are enjoying PvP and they're just having fun in Supremacy. Also, there's no fire team based matchmaking. I think. Don't quote me on that. But like,
I don't think there is.
don't think
and
there is.
that's
I
kind
don't
of a
think there is.
negative to me. Like,
it can
a
be
huge
both.
negative.
It can be both because let me break it down this way. I mean, it is annoying if you go in, like, I just want to go in with my friends and have fun, right? And if you go up against another team and it's like, oh, well, they're all individuals, that's kind of crappy because, you know what I mean? You're just kind of duking on random blueberries who have no chance to fight back. But like, then there's the other side of that fence where sometimes I stream Iron Banner and I have a lot of really fun people in my community who are like, hey, can we come join you? And I'm like, oh, I'd really love to, but like the second
SBMM's gonna roll you.
you're gonna get rolled,
I have
dude.
that same predicament, and I'm gonna tell you how I solved it.
Oh,
And
please tell me,
solves
yeah.
a bad word because it's not a perfect solution.
Okay, fair enough.
So, I tried to play Hunter in Iron Banner. I know, bold. Against all the, it was Fortress Iron Banner, right? So it's Wells
Sure.
and Bubbles that rule the roost. And so, to counter those, you don't really have an option if you don't have conditional finality. You have to hope for Wither Horde or just not play Hunter. Hunter has to use the super, not efficient. Unrelated but related, I made a video script today that goes through all the things that break a bubble in like the most efficient fashion,
Hey,
and also
alright.
talk about breaking a bubble and a well at the same time. So with that information, I would load in, see 6 bubbles or some combination of bubbles and wells. I would look at my friends who play MMOs with me who are great PvP players, but not as like dedicated as me. And I would say, I have to hop to my Warlock, be right back. I'd immediately leave, immediately rejoin. We'd break 5 or 6 bubbles that match, mercy them, and then go on to the next. And if we didn't see bubbles, I would just stay on Hunter.
Good call.
I'm not exaggerating on this. We had a day where we went 30 or 40 games without dropping a match in fire team based matchmaking.
I believe
against
that.
bubbles and wells because it's so consistent.
I believe that.
Whatever change Bungie made for lowering the bubbles health, it makes all the difference.
It does.
It
I
does, it
completely
really
agree with
does,
that. Yeah.
You good over there, cool guy?
Yeah, dude. What's funny is I played a game today. I was playing Titan, so it was 6 Titans versus 6 Hunters on Midtown,
Yeah.
and we spawned looking into Low Street. So Low Street is where the heavy spawns up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm talking about on Midtown.
Yes.
Yeah,
the,
sure.
The
Yeah,
outer,
yeah.
the outer. Dude, I kid you not, 7 hunters came up and tried to get that heavy. Dude, could not get it. One Titan goes up, pops a barricade. We all get heavy. Like they just start jumping up, couldn't do anything, kind of like scrambling around like a cockroach, like dodging, then go back down. Could not touch the heavy, dude. Titan just goes up and barricades it.
Good lord.
Simple.
So I have to bring that
Straightforward.
up. There's a very big discrepancy, I'm going to say, in the class balance when you have 6 of the same thing.
Sure.
What's our allegiance, like our personal allegiance between all of us? Do you favor a
Oh
class?
no, it's a war on Titans, bro.
I think it is a war on Titans. 'Cause
Period.
every friend I have when they join the fire team, we play Hunter or Warlock, and every single one of them like jokingly shits on the Titans.
Yeah.
no matter
no, it's
what.
a war
kind
on
of-
Titans,
kinda
full
funny.
on.
I like what they did to knockout and things like that. It's
Yeah,
just,
I agree.
We'll get to that, yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the Guardian game weapons real quick. We got the title and the Mountain Dew scout rifle, the Taraxipos, I think it's called. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
something like
good. I'll let you
that.
cook.
The T rifle, yeah, sure. I was wondering, cool guy, tell me about the scout rifle because I know going into Guardian games, we were talking about how viable we think it might end up being. I'm not a big scout guy, but I was interested to hear your thoughts.
Every single person that has used it,
Uh-huh.
and I've seen on Twitter, doesn't have a bad thing to say about it. And I think that that's a good way to sum up the gun.
That's
Like,
impressive.
when you think lightweights, we've had like the Pleiades corrector. You think Mida, right? Mida comes to mind. And Mida, no distractions. But this scout, man, with the perks that it has, they gift you really, and that's another good thing about this Guardian games. Like they gift you valuable roles. Zen moment kill clip, and in that left's our third column. Like there's Zen Moment, there's no distractions. Like you can kind of make a Mida, right? But they didn't put rapid hit. Rapid hit would have been really good. But dude, Zen Moment.
Zen Moment. That's that new.
Yeah, it's already got MNK or controller. Like people don't realize like Zen Moment's been kind of a meme for a long time. For the entire community. Definitely MNK players, but before it got buffed, control players could feel the less radical bounce, right? But now, since it is actively combating a lot of things and giving aim assist, it's just too good. 0.67 TTK, Cascade Point is really nuts on it, dude. And I think, like, I've reviewed all of them in depth. Perpetualis, Rufus, Quicksilver Storm. Like I think that it is the best PvE weapon just because of the distance that you have. And yes, that is including Quicksilver doing more damage to, because it's an exotic and being an auto rifle. But dude, the things you can do with this thing from 60, 70 meters, pure safety is incredible. You can't do it with any other strand weapon. And it's going to stay because it has Classy Contender. And if you look at the kit, like the Warlock Suspend build, and with the fragments, I think it's what is the actual fragment? But the fragment where you get more class ability energy by defeating a suspended target. So you pop the Mind Spun aspect, you suspend them, you kill them, you get class ability energy. The gun gives you class ability energy. Then they're nerfing the grenade part. Dude, I was getting rifts like every 6 seconds, 7 seconds. It's that fast, dude. It is that fast because of Classic Contender and that. Like, when you look at Titan in those boots, when you suspend something, you get woven mail. So they're suspending. Same deal with the Warlock. You're getting double class ability energy. You're getting woven mail all the time. You're dropping threadlings everywhere to tangles everywhere to destroy. Then you got Untangler, you get all the artifact mods. Like it is a very complete weapon, dude. Extremely
good. It's a perpetual loop. You just cycle through all of those things related to Strand with that scout rifle. It can be the catalyst.
It also has gut shot explosive payload, which is nuts, dude, because you're getting the damage in PvE from explosive payload, more body shot damage. It's like a double perk. Like I'll have to look at the damage, but I would assume it's like 33-40%. Like
I know we keep them mostly PvP on this podcast, but I am definitely using that scout in this GM rotation to try to get the malicious birthright. I'll be using that epic defender build of double grenade launcher at some point. So I want a frenzy grenade launcher.
Dude, PvP, like it's clapping, dude. It is doing so well. It is doing so well. A lot of
viable rules. Keep away, man. That's the one. Zen Moment keep away. That's the one for me. Yeah, I'm all about consistency perks, like just getting that crispy hit detection. And Zen Moment keep away is one of my favorite like perks of recent memory just in general, and certainly for Lightfall. It just I don't know, like that accuracy bump, especially when we're talking about enhanced, of course, on the round robin, but that accuracy bump, just I feel it every single time. So especially on precision weapons, of course, where you're trying to make sure that you knock that head as consistently as possible. So that's the one for me personally.
When we go back to the land of SPMM, try out Zen Moment Explosive and see what it's like when people start shooting back more often, because I think you get a double proc of Zen Moment off the explosive round.
I was going to ask that. Because doesn't Zen Moment activate when you deal damage?
Per hit, yeah.
So you get double. 2 perks per 1 hit. That's a really interesting idea.
And it's a 200 RPM explosive. That's going to be pretty flinch heavy.
A lot of flinch, yeah. Okay.
Scouts are the ones that benefit like 2 stacks per shot. Is that correct? Like
it's
hand
explosive
cannons?
That's doing it.
It's the explosive.
Oh, maybe. I'm not 100% on that.
In theory, yeah. In theory, yeah, it counts because the pulse does count as 3. It maxes out at 2.
Regardless, all I know is when I try to use a scout against good hand cannon players, I'm looking at the ceiling when they shoot back at me. So if that scout lets me shoot back, it's going to be good.
So another thing about this scout, dude, it's a 1.9 times zoom. It's the lowest zoom we have on a scout.
Yeah, like other scouts are in like the 20 area.
Yeah, two times is the base, right? There's some that get pretty crazy. I think like Pleiades is like a 2.6 or like a 2.4. Like a lot of them are above. They're 2 or above. There's very few 1.9. So, and it duels extremely well in that closer to mid for a scout rifle, right? You have the Omelon Fluid Dynamics if you want to throw that on. Since it's a lightweight, it's got 79 or 75 aim assist. So target adjuster goes to 80. You have it
Yep.
targeting on your helmet. Yeah, moving target on. I mean, dude, you're
Mhm.
hitting 100 in no time.
And we're talking about an archetype as well, or I'm sorry, a subfamily
No,
as
you're good.
well, and like that manufacturer as well, that you get a lot of handling on that thing too. I guess lightweight frame would be what it is.
Yeah.
And that's also really, really nice for just a run and gun play style.
And they haven't shined because we haven't had a good one. We haven't had a good one in a long time.
Yeah,
Question,
the last one that
is-
came out was the Pleiades, right? That was the last like fresh one that came out.
I think so.
Yeah,
Let me look at them.
Is Trials on
pulling it up right now
Disjunction
as
this
well.
week?
it is.
Have they
Maybe
confirmed
we'll
that
see
yet,
this
or are
out.
we just really assuming that like? I can't imagine any
I
other
think the
map would
PvE
win.
community hates
It
us
won.
enough to
It
just
won.
vote it in. So
It
Yeah.
officially won.
I believe it.
even if it
officially won,
hasn't, that's my prediction.
Yeah, 100% my prediction. Everyone has been trolling, like, oh, let's just vote for Disjunction.
Okay, so correction.
Hmm.
Like we had Eternal Blaze on. There's Night Watch. There's Vouchsafe, Pleiades. It was Tarnished Metal from Plunder
Tarnished
season.
That's right.
But
The
that
full
was
shot one.
that wasn't at all anything PvP focused. Like
I was
it
gonna
was
say
the
that's more of a
it was the
PvE.
it was the first Volt Shot weapon that we ever had.
Yeah,
and it's still best used as that. So,
agreed.
but we haven't had Zen. We haven't had Kill Clip. We haven't had good PvP perks.
So glass half full, I guess. If we do confirmed have Disjunction for trials over the weekend, at least we can try out our new Mountain Dew Scout Rifle rolls. I mean, it would be better to use it on like a map like that than on. I don't know. Usually my trials loadout. I don't know about y'all. Kind of depends heavily on whatever map we get thrown our way.
The box breathing Hung Jury is gonna feast.
Yes, it is.
Ah,
That's probably going to be the
yes.
number one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I
do
think
have
double
that lying
primary
around.
on those giant maps is not a throw whatsoever. It can be optimal.
No, I agree. Cloud Strike's gonna be in the top 3 again, probably.
Without
no,
100.
definitely.
question. Without
Definitely.
question.
Which, by
Yeah.
the way,
I'll make that prediction. I think it's going to be
What was?
Immortal, Cloud Strike, No
Just
Time,
saying.
Hung Jury.
What are you saying?
dude, I never left that train, bro. The Cloud Strike train like
You were
started
officially.
day one.
You're officially
That
the
train, that train keep moving.
cool guy. Is
That
the
train
Cloud
keep
Strike?
moving.
He is the Cloud Strike hipster. You've been using Cloud Strike since day one, but again,
Dude,
like,
I've
I
been trying
tried
to
it and
find-
it's good, but like I could never get over the low handling. I'm like addicted.
skill issue. Skill issue.
It
I've been
literally,
trying to
literally
find.
is a skill issue. I'm like, wait,
I've been trying.
you think
Dude,
I'm
I've been
gonna
trying
have
to
a
find
fucking
artists to
argument
get.
with
I want a life-size replica of it, dude. Like that's how much I love this gun.
Good lord.
You know, but eventually, Immortal, like it can't happen soon enough, and a lot of these SMGs are gonna get toned down. I think Cloud Strike's gonna stay, dude. I
No,
think
Cloud Strike is gonna stay.
I think people-
they literally
it'll
just
stay.
gave lightweights or that frame, the
Rapid fire
the rapid
frame,
fire
they have
they literally just
the-
gave it that recoil improvement,
Mhm.
right? Like 50%
Speaking of
less
rapid
recoil.
fires,
It's the
there's a
incoming
change
flash reduction,
related
right?
to them
It's
that
the
irks
God
me.
forbid.
The
You said
new
what, Kevin?
overshield on respawn,
Yes,
the rapid
Yes!
fires
Oh my
cannot
God.
headshot.
it was very
Ugh,
funny.
Those things are thickies. Those overshields are thick,
Thickies.
man.
Oh
As
my
someone
God.
who hits out of spawn quite frequently with a hand cannon, those things are thick.
Yeah, you got to
No.
shoot 8 shots and then they lose the shield and gun you.
Well, not only that, with the more
That was
aggressive
funny.
like spawns that we've had for I don't know, last like 6 to 9 months, maybe like a year. It's just, I mean, by the time you get through that shield and maybe end up, taking that person out, somebody spawn like, to the left of you and maybe right behind you as well. So
Yeah, I usually
they're
ran
telling
like
us
rapid
something.
fires for fun, but I had to switch off with how much I couldn't spawn kill.
Yeah, Cloud Strike will 100% continue to thrive, even with the quote-unquote death. It's not gonna die, but the eventual tweaking of ag frame SMGs, including the school bully, the Immortal. Cloud Strike is just dope. Like it's really
Speaking
fun.
of the school bully immortal,
Yeah,
the
okay.
other weapon of the Guardian games, the title.
The title.
yeah.
It's a void aggressive SMG.
It is, and I was immediately excited when I looked into the API and saw that Title 2023 has access to Rangefinder, which was
And they gave it to us for free.
and they get the first roll. I think most people I talked to had a roll with Rangefinder on it.
Yeah, it's P motion and rangefinder. Come on, man.
it's pretty good.
That's
It's
as close as
Come
most
on,
of us
man.
are gonna get.
they're teasing me
That's
with
it.
the reload masterwork there a little bit, but
It's a random masterwork.
so somebody got a 5/5 roll automatically. I'm gonna keep going in Guardian games until I get my 5/5 title, because I
What's your
really
5/5 title?
it's like either max range or close to max range. For barrel, I could go either, what is it, hammer or full bore.
Or
I could
full
go
bore.
full bore would give max range, but I'd settle for hammer, meaning 10
I'd say,
range
especially if you're going
without.
rangefinder, I'd settle for a hammer as well, simply
Yeah,
because of the fact that you never know. Next season, we might actually get that adjustment to the stability on 750s on aggressive frames to
exactly.
actually make that matter at some point,
Now,
So,
I'm saying like the barrel for me is kind of a flex point because I've had SMGs with shockingly low stability, and even with the low stability, I feel like I can use them just fine. For example, multi-mock.
Shira.
Yeah.
Shira. Multi-mock, you can really bottom out the stability with certain rolls, and I still enjoy that weapon. So I'd be happy with either full bore for the max range. I'd be happy with hammer just to not harm my stability and to knowing that I'm like almost at max range. But 2 is going to be, can it roll? It's ricochet, right? Ricochet column 2?
Yes, it can.
Yep,
I
it can.
just pulled it up because I want to talk
Ricochet
about
in
it.
column 2, I would settle for high cal for extra flinch. Column 3, I'm looking for, is it dynamic in column 3? Dynamic sway reduction?
Yes, dynamic sway
Dynamic
reduction.
sway
column 3.
reduction column 3, rangefinder column 4, range masterwork. That would be my 5 out of 5 title. And I'm really excited about that because it, in theory, has better zoom than the Immortal with a 5 out of 5 god roll, which is really enticing to me because I know that zoom feels
Out of season,
cracked
it's
good.
comparable to the Unforgiven from the Keitel dungeon. That one has
yeah.
14 zoom. The title has 15. Both of them have repulsor brace. And I think
Fair.
that's what's valuable about it to me because Gear Falcon has that interaction with void weapons. So you can run around with the wall hack SMG.
The wall hack SMG. That's a good point. I'm going for a much more basic bitch roll, but I'm still looking forward to it. The farming has been brutal, but I'm gonna keep going until I get my 5 out of 5 hell or high water. Oh my god, a second dog has appeared. This is Cool Guy Dog Watch 2023. Dude, they're so great. I love those dogs, man.
Yeah, dude, I love these.
They're really
dogs.
awesome. Hey, boys.
They are good dogs. High energy, bro. Oh,
They really are.
0 to 100 and then back at 0.
Oh, believe me, I've taken naps on your couch to wake up to those two fighting each other.
Oh, my, dude. One day I'm gonna get a video and post it on Twitter. Like nobody's hurt because Patrick, my deaf one,
Yeah, poor
he
boy.
dude, he makes the funniest noises.
He's
His
such a
his
good
deaf
dog,
barks,
man.
man.
The deaf part,
So when
yeah.
he's fighting, like he gets extremely like he sounds aggressive, but he's not.
Yeah, they're
I'll put it on
harmless.
I'll put it on Twitter one of these days.
They goof around.
man, it's
they're
super
really
cute,
they're
man.
really great dogs.
And they're hungry, so
I bet. Hungry for god rolls, just like all of us. If you could wave a magic wand right now and get your 5/5 roll on either the scout rifle or the SMG, what would you take?
Well, now that I've seen some clips from Cool Guy, I think I want the scout more.
I'm still going with the SMG.
The title can be replaced to me. I think Ikilos
Very
SMG
true.
still bangs.
yeah, I'm not worried about the title at all.
I mean,
Yeah,
because
and-
of the fallback option, we already have, like, we're drowning in strong,
Yeah.
overtuned SMGs for PvP
Most
performance, right?
For me, it's that origin trait on Ikilos. The reloading on shield break. You just get a whole team wipe with just shooting at people and not missing.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I love that
and
game.
for me, like these, I'm all about, hey, what can this thing do that other SMGs can't do? Number one, and number two, I'm pretty pure, on the hand cannon shotgun. So it's not as if I'm gonna pull out and even a scout rifle either. Even though I do enjoy a scout rifle or an SMG from time to time. So it's more so for me like PVE. I got that repulsor, a really nice repulsor brace, and I love. No, I'm sorry. Is it destabilizing or this gets repulsor brace? That's right. So I got a really nice repulsor brace roll on it, and that's kind of what I was looking for, honestly.
I gave my 5 out of 5 on the title, and the people in the chat want to know, Cool Guy, what is your 5 out of 5 for the scout rifle?
Oh, so
PvE or
I
PvP,
did-
your call.
I pretty much have him, dude. Max range.
That's a flex.
Max range Zen kill clip. But honestly, I want max range Zen cascade point.
Nice.
Honestly, so like that scout, because you can kind of mess with fluid dynamics It's already got high stability and just high stats. Like I'll be okay with just the roll. Like if I get arrowhead to get the recoil direction and a counterbalance mod to get it to 99, like I'm cool with that too. Like if I miss, as long as I get the combo, I'll be good. But I'm looking for Zen Cascade right now.
Cool.
I have moving target Cascade, and it's really good. But I want. So, which by the way, to me, Zen's starting to feel like an S tier must have. It's nice to because it's just a different flavor.
It's becoming
right?
the new
like,
rangefinder, kind of.
Yeah, so like Rabbit Hit, excellent perk, third column perk, excellent. Sometimes elemental caps there, like you can kind of choose your different dueling things. It used to be just top S tier, like things like Outlaw, Feeding Frenzy. They're bottom of the list now for me most of the time.
Yeah, especially Feeding Frenzy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
feeding.
yeah.
So like Zen being buffed and in a good spot, like I don't think it's necessary, but I think that it's a strong choice that duels well. And there's usually other good perks too.
Yeah, I think you just take it's kind of like a flavor. You pick your flavor on Zen Moment versus Rapid Hit, basically.
Yeah.
Although I think we would generally agree Zen Moment's got a little bit of an edge right now. Is that correct? But yeah, I would agree.
I changed my Ostringer from rangefinder to Zen. Best decision I made.
Oh yeah,
Because,
I think Drew was talking about that
hey,
too.
dude, it's really
I tried
good.
it. This is gonna be like the fourth podcast in a row. I'm like, you gotta go back to Last Wish and get that whatever hand cannon, the arc one with Zen Moment explosive.
Nation of Beasts.
Nation of Beasts.
Ah,
That's
Nation
the
of
one.
Beasts. Yeah, Nation of Beasts.
Time to farm Last Wish, Cammy, in 2023. The year
I
of our
hope that
Lord.
whenever they eventually, I'm assuming, make it craftable, that they don't remove those perks because they do that sometimes. They're slick, like with Mind Benders.
Yeah. Yeah,
They kind of got it in on the
we all know that.
re-release.
That hurt. As soon as you said it, that hurt.
Time.
I'm not gonna lie, that hurt. Yeah.
Let's move on because we have just so much to talk about. Sandbox stuff. I know we would be salty if we didn't get to touch on this kind of stuff.
And Fallout, can I say something real quick?
Please do, buddy.
Just to
Please
kind of cap
do.
things off. Yeah. So what I will say is that this the scout rifle, the Terra hippos, we're just gonna call it the Terra hippos.
The T hippo.
Hippos,
Yeah, sure.
the T hippos. Yeah. I think that this is definitely the star. This is definitely the star. We've got a bunch. You said it exactly right. We've got a bunch of SMGs, that are completely viable, like more than viable in the meta, that have like S tier plus like perks and combinations. And this thing is a dream. Focus Fury, Zen Moment Focus Fury. I think Focus Fury is kind of a slept on for any like connoisseur that's definitely hitting those headshots. Like I love it on Crisis Inverted, in particular. Hatchling, I love seeing the screebs, those little green screebs. They're like
funny.
Everywhere. And kind of like synergizing that with your Warlock Strand build. Like I said, keep away, of course. But I just think that this is definitely the star of this Guardian Games, and folks should definitely be looking out for a bunch of viable roles because it feels amazing. And you're right, I haven't heard anybody say, to the contrary. So
I think it's a good point. I'm still an SMG hunter, but like, I feel like if you have limited time to farm the Jardian James and you're looking for that really unique prize, I would agree that the Scout Rifle is far more unique than the SMG.
I don't want to go too far down the tangent rabbit hole, but since we have Tony here anyway, I'm going to say, whenever it comes back in Iron Banner, you have to get a finite impactor hand cannon with Focus Fury slide shot, sideways.
Man,
it's an absolute game changer.
That is interesting.
They don't drop for me, man. They don't drop. Hand cannons don't. They barely drop, and when they do, it's never that great of a roll. I've been looking for that.
When it comes back, you drop everything and get that exact roll. I promise you, it is nuts. You go off radar right as you're proccing Focus Fury.
The game.
Oh man, that sounds nice.
The game literally knows what rolls you're chasing, and they deny it. You cannot say out loud what rolls you're chasing. You'll never get them.
Yeah, I just resolved to just never get them. I say it out loud, and I just cope.
Wouldn't surprise me if they have some sort of like algorithm under the hood. They're like, this man has 500 hand cannons in his vault.
That was
no more.
It's gotta be. That
was Cammy's origin story. He's like, oh, the game's just gonna give me a bunch of shit. I'm just gonna get good with weird stuff. And Cammy started using wild stuff.
That's the play. That's the play.
It's like I'm a bowman now, and they give me a perfect hand cannon. You thought.
All right. So Bungie dropped a Wednesday TWAB today. talking about a whole bunch of sandbox changes. Far too many for us to go over one at a time, but a lot of changes made to supers, both, mostly roaming supers, and
Good PvE changes for them.
good PvE changes, a lot of good PvE changes, a lot of discussion on Twitter, Reddit, wherever, about both the ups and the downs. Before we start combing through, any initial 30,000 foot view thoughts on the sandbox changes?
Shoulder charge.
Let's talk about
That's the
shoulder
biggest
charge.
one. That's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, for sure. If you didn't know, and if you're hearing it for the first time, especially if you're a Titan man, I really apologize. Bungie is nerfing shoulder charge, and they are doing so by making it actually cost melee energy, not your entire melee energy, a portion of your melee energy every time you activate shoulder charge, whether you hit a target or not. So what was the number they gave? A couple
15%, which equates to 7 seconds at tier 10.
That's correct.
So if you have tier 10 strength and you pop off a shoulder charge, you're shaving 7 seconds off. In 7 seconds, your melee charge will be back at full, correct?
Yeah, here's a big thing, though, that it currently works this way. If you sprint and then you just barely get your shoulder charge back, like off cooldown, you can shoulder charge immediately. So if, like, on the 5th second you start running and sprinting, you'll have it on the 7th second.
Interesting. But you have to build into that, whereas right now, even if you had doo-doo tier 1 strength or whatever, you could just kind of throw it out willy-nilly. I feel like most people I talk to, I streamed when the TWAB kind of dropped and I was reading it, and people in the chat who are not Titan mains were really happy, and the Titan mains were all pretty mad about it.
Dude, I could have seen a because essentially you're locked out of the shoulder charge, right? So if you're locked out of the shoulder charge,
yeah,
I would have been fine with the Knickers dash cooldown of 7 seconds.
That
period.
is what my suggestion was. Treat it like Ick Dash.
Yeah.
See. Okay, so I wrote this, and I guess I'll just straight up read it. So shoulder charge mobility goes beyond like Titan identity, but we all love it, and I say that because it's supposed to be the tank. It's supposed to be the tank, right? I mean, Titan right now kind of has it all. Titans get away with very little mobility, so instead of creating a dual role for similar to resilience with like flinch resist, they doubled down on the benefits of strength on Titan. So I just feel like it was a really smart move on their part, kind of killing two birds with one stone, basically. A lot of hunters were talking about, oh man, our mobility, it's not useful on other classes.
Right.
Warlocks don't have to build into it. Leave my warlocks alone, first of all. Leave them alone. Leave Icarus Dash alone. Leave my warlocks alone,
Amen.
Bungie, period.
Amen, baby.
They've been through enough.
They've been through seriously. I can't. That pretty much sums it up right there. They've been through enough, baby. But they mobility doesn't mean anything to anybody but Hunter for the most part. I mean, obviously there's some nuances. And so for them to basically double down on tying it specifically into strength, strength being beneficial on the punchy, tanky like subclass, I just think class is just beautiful. I thought that was a great move on their part. You can build into it just like Cammy said. I was thinking the same thing. By the time you get a running start at tier 10 strength, you pretty much have your shoulder charge back as well. And you never know, we'll probably have something funky.
I'm gonna hard agree on this. My Titans for winning games, it has 2 strength. That's what I build into because it's useless to me. I will never shoulder charge somebody because the movement's too valuable. Now they just threw a wrench in how I build Titan. Instead of going 10 discipline and ability spamming all over PvP, I now have to choose between movement and grenade.
Exactly.
I think I'm going
That's
movement.
Exactly what I was thinking. It's gonna come off the grenade, right? It's gonna come off the grenade. It's a great move. It's incredibly smart from the abilities team, in my opinion.
If you look at the projected cooldowns, I think we're gonna be somewhere in the mid range, like tier 6 discipline, 7 discipline, and tier 6 or 7 strength. So you can get a 9-second shoulder charge.
I would agree because right now, whenever I hop on my Titan, usually I'm about 8 or 9 on the grenade, right? And then probably about 3 or 4 on the strength. So yeah, it's gonna flip
Now we
up.
talk all this praise, but there's a dark side of this change, and that is Titan mains are going to switch to Juggernaut and Teus with Thruster.
No.
I know.
Sure. The dog agrees. Yeah, it's entirely possible. That was another interesting change. I don't want to jump around too much, but changing certain aspects to have 2 fragment slots instead of 1.
It seemed like they thought ahead of time. Like if they're gonna nerf shoulder charge, they're giving every class something else in addition to,
Yeah,
and that's the fragment space.
correct. I was kind of chuckling to myself when I read that, and I was like, oh, I was trying to think off the top of my head, like what other aspects in the game only give one aspect? Because one fragment. Because in theory, you would think that if it gives one fragment, it must be really juiced, right? And if it gives 3 fragments, it's probably kind of weak. 2 would be middle of the road. And I looked and I was like, dude, Knockout gets 2 fragments by default, like one of the most juiced Titan aspects of all time.
Notice the Hunter one with the extra handling. That one was wild to me. The Gunslinger one?
The Gunslinger one. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, but I was saying during stream today that I think even though I'm sure Titans are mad about the shoulder charge change, it could have been a lot worse, right? Wasn't there a time a long time ago when Bungie made it so that if you miss or hit a shoulder charge, no matter what, it just completely removes your melee energy? I feel like they did that a long time ago.
Yep. And also keep in mind that they could have actually changed the movement, the actual movement itself, similar to the way they did it before as well, by stopping the forward momentum.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
They ended up changing that back after,
Too many people were mad.
a lot of, negative feedback from the community or whatnot.
There was a line in the sand with shoulder charge where they decided it's either going to be an inconsistent one-hit ability or a good movement ability, and they chose the movement ability.
That's correct.
Yep. I do think it's funny, especially Tony, you mentioned kind of the difference between the fantasy of what a class should be and like the fun factor kind of. I when I play Titan, I try to be like Cammy a little bit. I try to play all 3 classes. I end up playing some more than others, but I try to, make sure I'm really staying on top of the feel for every class. And when I play Titan, it's infectious, right? Like you have to shoulder charge around. It's a fun movement tech. It's
literally faster to get to places.
Literally faster.
And then once you get there, you get a barricade.
Exactly.
And you just drop it,
so
and you got the space.
Funny that like
by yourself.
On paper, the power fantasy is like, oh, well, what's the fastest, most mobile class? Well, it's supposed to be the Hunter because they're like nimble and quick and then you have all these matches where like, who's getting to the midpoint of the map first? Well, of course it's Titans because they just shoulder charge all the way there, and then they drop a free barricade.
Cryoclasm coming back, man.
Yeah,
but I will talk a lot about Behemoth when we get to it.
We can move on to that pretty.
I'm still
short.
on the shoulder charge thing.
Still on the shoulder charge.
Almost enough to make me consider Thunderclap or Ballistic Slam, but not enough.
Not enough. Oh man,
it's because Thunderclap, it's bad.
It is bad.
I want it to be the anime power fantasy. I want it to blow up bubbles and wells. It doesn't do that at full charge.
Look, we've talked about this.
Charge for 10 more seconds, and I would still consider it.
Look, we've talked about this. I feel like the easiest solution to make Thunderclap good, let me activate it in the air, bro. That's all you need to do. I want to jump around corners like 50 meters up, charging it like a Falcon Punch and like drop into a dude's bubble.
Nah, you do it too much. You do it too much, Fallout.
I want to fit the whole monologue in as I'm charging it up,
You want that? Go ballistic. You want that? Go ballistic slam, man. We're not giving anything out. This is a war on Titans, bro.
The war on Titans.
If we're on a real war on Titans, we need to talk about Antaeus Ward.
What do you want to talk about? We did get a community question about Antaeus Wards. Do you want me to read it out here? Because it's relevant.
Yeah,
read it out.
Yeah,
let me find it. Where is it here? Come on.
I mean, I remember it. It's basically what would you change? Go ahead. Thank you.
From Jonah on Twitter. Seen a lot of complaints about the dominance of Antaeus Wards. How would you guys nerf it? Would it require class ability energy? Require a minimum sprint time to charge it? Yada, yada, yada. I thought it does require a minimum sprint time to charge it.
It does, but you can charge it into the wall, so you don't have to actually travel out.
Of course. That's not how you know a real OG Titan main. You just like, what, is that guy lagging out of the game? He's like running into the wall? No, he's just charging his Antaeus Ward.
What's crazy about these dominant PvP exotics, dude? Just like OEM, like, oh great, now in PvE, OEM's nerfed. I'm like, bro, you ain't out there using OEM, okay? You're not. So when this happens, undoubtedly there will be, well, guess my PvE dungeon Antaeus Ward build's over with.
I've already seen it. I've literally already seen it today.
Like, dude, all right, come on. Nobody believes you.
Bungie, I've been an Antaeus Ward PvE Titan since day one. These exotics
So-
were handed down from my grandpappy.
The problem with it is the counterplay. I'll tell you the counterplay options. They're terrible. It's you preemptively dust field, doesn't work because they shoulder charge somewhere else. You wave frame, pretty decent, or you Telesto the floor. There's one better one though, and that is
Telesto
conditional
the
finality
floor.
shotgun. But the problem is the Antaeus Titan just equips conditional finality and has it too.
Escalating.
So how do you fix it? I don't know. I'm just saying it's a problem.
Is it just
Yeah.
me, or like the more I think about it, are Titans just like they're not only we all agree that the Titan kit in PvP right now is totally
It has no
It's juice.
weaknesses.
it's totally juiced, right?
Yeah, of course,
it's totally good.
But saying
It's
that has
borderline the best
weaknesses-
choice of everything you could
It's
think about. in
really
PvP.
strong, but like they have good exotics too right now.
They do.
Part of it is
They do.
probably dependent on the meta, but like they got the PKs, the peacekeepers right now.
Yeah,
got-
they come out at the proper time, don't they?
They got the Antaeus wards. They've got
Cool guy,
Synthos.
The
Synthos.
Dunes.
Synthos have
Synthos.
always been good. Dunes are
Yeah.
hot.
Yo,
I still stand by Armamentarium wins tourneys.
Feedback fence slept on.
That is my friend.
Oh,
has
yeah,
been talking-
absolutely. That's
my
my
friend's been
season
talking
one
about
one.
big
Slept on
game, big game about
criminally.
feedback fence. Yeah,
Oh my god.
we're gonna have to talk about that later for sure.
Those
She's like-
will come back around, by the way. Once
She'll be happy
things
I
get
brought it
toned down a little bit, they will come back
100%.
around.
For sure.
They will
They
come
got
back
a lot
around.
of good. Any exotics I'm leaving out for the Titan kit? A lot
So
of good
what's
stuff.
what's crazy about Titan, and you know,
Orally.
all tunes have it, but like
Orally,
Titans,
sure.
I know, Titans.
I know.
Dogs
dude,
are Titan
like,
main.
You know, the entire kit of, let's say, like ballistic slam, right? Just ballistic slam. You know, you
Yeah.
have dunes, you have synthos, you have, you know, while you're running around, you have your PKs into ballistic slam. Like, you don't the effort for how strong all of this is minimal.
Yeah.
So
It's,
but,
it's
like-
sort
like
of
all-
true,
That's
yeah.
kind of the thing.
all of them have it, but Titan, their skill set with what they have in their perk trees makes it even better for how little they have to do.
Titan's eating good right now, dude.
They are.
They're
And
living
you know,
high on
like
hog.
I'm not even knocking Titans like that. I like that they are eating good, right? It's
Sure.
just been a little too long, and
Yeah.
you know, the balance is a little off. You said it exactly right. You know, what would you think of as the class, as the tune? You know, that's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be speedy, getting to those positions, supposed to be nimble, it's supposed to be the hunters are literally the slowest. You know, literally the
They
slowest.
really
I
are.
have to put on
Warlocks
Stompies
are Icarus
just to be able
dashing.
to, you know, like close engagement gaps.
It's
You know what I'm
very
saying?
funny.
Actually get the positions in a reasonable amount of time. You know, power positions. It's you know, it's rough out here. So I really don't think Titans are as overpowered as folks maybe give them credit for. I will say that. I don't think they're too far off. I think it really, honestly, just comes down to after the changes that we just saw today. It just comes down to those barricades, man.
Like,
They've
it's
gotta take more
extremely
primary
effective.
damage.
Good.
They've got to take more primary damage, man. It cannot take.
100%.
Oh my god, they've got to take more primary damage.
Super
Like there's
good.
no. It's either that. I thought about this a lot. It's either that or you no longer get absolute like running through them. You know, you no longer
Yeah,
get
That
so-
absolute
is the
running through them.
most
You
So,
take
yeah.
no damage.
triggering
That-
thing ever.
So the entire system of melee with barricade is abysmal, dude. Because
The curve.
as you said, the moment you touch it, you're literally
Yep.
1 HP.
Yep.
Right.
And
Not
then
only-
knock out,
Even if you like
then
barely graze
health
it.
regen.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just, you know, even even if you're trying to get away from it, like the magnetism of the melee will pull you into that barricade and you're just
Mhm.
done, right? So like they should do away with that. I've never liked that. You can go inside of a rift and do what you need to do to a warlock, but like the Titan barricade, especially with a bash and shield on top, pretty tough.
Yeah.
Pretty tough.
I don't
Yeah.
know why that's so funny that you phrased it that way.
What?
I go in there, do whatever you have to do to the warlocks.
Yeah, you do.
All right,
No
weirdo.
problem.
Like-
Easy.
Yo,
Easy.
pulling it back to Antaeus wards.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do think it probably needs to be tied to like ability energy at this point. I do because I wouldn't like. I'm not a big fan of. I'm a bigger fan of adjusting uptime versus actually killing the actual viability of the exotic itself. You know,
Yeah,
we're
sure.
gonna make it like weaker. You know, more fusion bolts gonna go through it, more bullets gonna go through it. I'm not. I mean, you know, it already is kind of wonky now, similar to Arc Strider Block, right? Things get trapped in there
Yes,
sometimes,
you
and
can
then you
have
end up
that
taking an
that
L to it.
bug that kills you. For me, it's
Exactly.
like I don't know,
It
1
just
out of
bounces
30.
back and forth. Yeah, it
I'm
just
gonna
bounces back and forth in between you and the shield. It's really weird. But my point is, I would, you know, I don't want the exotic itself when you actually proc it to be weaker per se. I don't think they're OP in that sense. I just think that the uptime, you know, and just like Cool Guy said, it's the ease of use, you know, just compounded with the ease of use of the kit itself, you know, on Titan, especially on Arc, you know, Arc Titan in particular. Yeah.
I'm gonna
On
pull
that
a
wavelength, you think they could tie it to your melee ability
No,
being
tie
up?
that bad boy to mobility on Titan. That's what you need to do.
That'd be a
Oh,
troll.
calm down there,
That'd be a
Satan.
troll.
Relax,
That's what you
bro.
need to do.
Relax.
Crazy. That'd be crazy.
Yo, I was
Crazy.
gonna
So
say
you'd
the
have a bunch
shoulder
of, like,
charge,
floaty
'cause-
titans. So you'd have a bunch of floaty titans that couldn't Titan skate on top of that. That'd be
Lord.
troll.
I'm gonna pull a Bungie here. What would their Bungie like canned answer be? Like, we're gonna keep an eye on this exotic and see how the season 21 changes pan out before making any further adjustments.
I think it really does come out when people want to win.
It does. It for sure does. I see.
Oh no,
it,
definitely.
it in PK is the most by far in PvP for sure. But I think PK viability will probably go down naturally when SMGs take a hit next season.
All right, you run in a straight line. Got to have that mobility up for those wards.
Jesus Christ. Moving on. Knockout is getting nerfed. Knockout considered by many to be one of the most jacked up, juiced aspects of all time. They're
I'll describe
shortening-
it. You get syntheseps for playing the game.
For free. Oh yeah, that stacks with syntheseps for whatever reason.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Damage wise.
But I'm also going to go on the record and say that I think this could have been a lot worse too. They shortened the lunge range from 6.5 meters to 5.5 meters. I think the base melee range is 4.5. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's 4.5. So
I honestly think it's matching a glaive lunge now.
really,
Yeah, I do.
and they've
Glaives
unchanged
can-
the melee PvE
yeah.
damage, by the way. But so yeah, they're just cutting the range in a wee bit, which I think is not too bad because you still get healed on the melee, which is part of why Titan Striker Titans are insane up close, right? So I feel like that change could be a whole lot worse. What else we got? Cam, do you want to talk about Bastion? Carol
The fusion rifle. No,
Carol
it's
Bastion?
just getting an extra fragment. The overshield.
Yeah, and also keep in mind as well the changes. You know, I mean, we just all know all this stuff. You know, I'm not a big fan of like spoilers and leaks and stuff like that. But I suppose it'll be in line with the Ophidian change coming next season as well. I'll just
Bungie
leave it
legal
at that.
team, line 2.
Yep.
Just kidding.
Fallout. The name is Fallout.
I'm still bent out of shape. They took away frontal assault on Arc Titan, dude. Sorry.
Inertia override too.
Some wounds
Yeah.
cut deep. Some wounds cut too deep to heal.
Instead, we can just run in a straight line and lunge 7 meters. You know, no big deal.
Bastion.
Did you have feelings about Bastion though? Because I think you mentioned it earlier, or was I making that up in my head?
The overshield's really powerful. I
Yes.
think, especially in sixes, where you can give your other 5 teammates an overshield, really strong.
And they're
with the
buffing it.
extra fragment, you don't have to decide between Devour, OEM fragment, and Bastion. You can just have all 3.
Right.
I was super surprised that they ended up giving it to Bastion, considering the fact that they ended up recognizing that it needed an increased cooldown. You know, before. It's too much. I've long said that Bastion. Look, if it applies to just you, you know, I'm willing to make that compromise. You know, but giving it to your entire team, like you expect me to 1v3 against 45 times 3. You know, 45 extra hit points times 3. Like that's too much, man. They shouldn't give, like, Bastion shouldn't give it to your teammates, like, on top of that.
If I had the keys to the kingdom, I would make it so that it doesn't immediately give the overshield. You have to actually stand behind the barricade as a team.
Like
Is that
the way
hard
you
right
do
now?
when you have
I'm
to
sorry.
recharge.
Did they make a change to barricades to make them take extra damage to primary weapons? Is that hard right now?
Hey, just use a Hake, okay? Breach Armaments, ever
You know,
heard
the
of
title
it?
has it.
I
But
hate
also,
that
this
argument,
being
dude.
said-
Like, yeah, you use a hockey weapon, bro. Let's see how far you go with
This
that.
is
If
rapidly
shoulder
turning
charge was
into
getting tagged,
Titan
I
Bashers
could see
Anonymous.
why they would want to add extra fragments to the rest of the
So
Titan kit.
let's get to the root of the real issue, dude. Honestly, the root
Hunters.
of the issue is these things being tied to different stats, dude. I've always hated that dodge is tied to mobility, that resilience is tied to the barricade, recovery is tied to the rift. I hate it. Then you add things like bash and shield that's going to have the highest fast uptime because it's tied to your resilience, right? Like, just doesn't make sense to me.
It can be frustrating for sure.
Yeah.
Trying to scroll through the mountain of changes Bungie is outlining for season 21 here. Any others that stand out a lot to you? They're buffing Golden Gun for PvE.
Yeah, I saw that,
which
dude.
I
That
thought was
was
kind of wild.
Why?
Like Star Eater Scale Hunters and the Nighthawk folk. They're gonna be eating good.
Yeah.
They're really eating good.
I actually like the changes for gunpowder.
Gunpowder
thought that was
Gamble.
cool.
You Gunpowder
Yeah.
boy.
I agree.
I think
It's cutting it half in time.
I think they're going to see that in PvP because of
I
that.
want you to know there's an even bigger change to that wasn't the extra fragment. It's conditional finality existing and adding to Gunpowder Gamble in the kinetic slot.
Fair enough.
Mm.
We also have a potential return of Chaos Reach in PvE only, which I'm more than happy with. You can do whatever you want to the Kamehameha in PvE. Just don't bring back the Geomag, whatever.
Oh man, dude.
Dynamo
We were over there on
meta.
Stadia Island running
Stadia
into a
Island
wall.
of Paradise, bro. Just don't bring that back to PvP, and we're good.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We talk about Immortal, but I'm like, dude, there were darker times. Like I don't know how,
Far
but there
darker,
were
yeah.
darker
far
times.
darker times.
The darkest
so-
time to me was Classy Restoration Hunter. Oh no.
We don't
dude.
speak about that.
Yeah, because that was compounded with Solar 3.0 and the fact that everybody was on it, and Healed Age just came out, and Restoration just in general.
I had
was
to win my
really,
gunfight
really
like
strong.
4 times in a row. It was
Yeah.
wild for primary users. I
Yeah.
should have just went on malfeasance and not even dealt with it. Just took my L.
Can we talk about a really random change that I'm very excited about?
Let's go.
The change to Frost Pulse on the Warlock.
Okay, I like that.
Shout out to Stadia time.
Shout out to my boy Stadia Time. I still every now and then rock the Shadebinder Warlock. I try not to, but it's very strong and very, very fun.
Yeah.
And Frost Pulse, I think when it originally came out, I was like, this is going to be a meme in PvP. It is not a meme in PvP.
Ooh,
It
no.
is super, super good. And I play with my buddy Stadia Time, who is a diehard Shadebinder main. And I cannot tell you how many flawless game clutches we've had in carrying other people to the lighthouse when he has busted out like a Frost Pulse double or triple kill. Like it's wild. And the very rare, it's like maybe 1 out of 10 times, maybe more, 2 out of 10, he'll fail the play because even though he succeeds in dropping the Frost Pulse Frozen Rift play, the melee doesn't connect.
Short stops. And he
It's-
wears Ophidians
yes,
too.
and
So he's doing
yes,
everything he can.
He's doing everything right, and the melee short stops. And he, every time it happens, again, like 2 or 3 out of 10, he'll just bitch and moan and complain and yada yada yada.
It
It's
puts
like-
him on instant tilt.
instant tilt, yeah. And I'm one excited that I may not have to deal with that tilt anymore, but 2, just the consistency, because it's a really big risky play. Like it's not always
Yeah.
going to work. If he does it and he mistimes it, or the spacing is wrong, or he
It's a fighting
misreads
game
the
interaction.
situation.
You have some hungry box level pop-offs when you freeze a missile.
It is literally that. It's like timing a Falcon Punch or timing a Jigglypuff rest in Melee. If you miss
Yep.
it, you are going to get punished. And every time he misses it, he gets big time punished. But you shouldn't miss it from the game being jank. Like if he lands the thing and pops the melee and it just misses and he just like cops a feel on the guy's shoulder, like that's not cool. So this change it looks like a really interesting change. I'm gonna probably be playing more Shadebinder because I already find it fun, and that is just icing on the cake.
I
for
know
me.
I keep bringing it up. Conditional finality works with Shadebinder
so
too.
good.
Rockhedrons off a shotgun
It's
kill.
so
Ice flare
good.
bullets.
Shadebinder's goated, dude.
Shadebinder's
It really is.
extremely good.
I've been on
really
that
is.
train too.
I'm actually quite scared of this change, and like Shadebinder is the strongest of the stasis kits, and it's just for people that for a hand cannon shotgun guy like myself, for people who have mastered that, I cannot get close to them. I cannot.
It's very hard.
You know,
Yeah.
it's very, very difficult. You know, if not just straight up impossible. I can't remember the last time I got close to a Shadebinder who was like a goat. Like a goat, you could tell that was their kit. You know,
For sure.
it'll be interesting. I've always felt that the balancing act with Shadebinder is just the short range of the abilities for the most part. For the most part, you know, and so you know to see this change, you know, I'm a little wary.
For sure, for sure. Hey, fun trivia fact for people at home. I can't remember if I don't know if they changed it, but last time we measured, if you want the most efficient frost pulse possible on your Shadebinder, Empowering Rift, not Healing Rift. The Empowering Rift actually drops like 2 or 3 frames quicker.
You get frame advantage.
Right.
Yeah, I just tested that today in Bubble.
Yep.
It
You
matters.
literally get frame advantage. So that's why Stadia Time
okay,
always
so
rocks
here's what it is.
Empowering.
If you try to 1-2 punch out of a freeze, they get unfrozen before your Healing Rift works, so you don't get the
That's funny.
the extra 1-2 punch damage.
Sure.
But with Emprift you do, and it's Emprift, so you get
So you get extra damage.
too.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Emprift is the play. Any other changes in here? Just looking over.
This is a good tangent. He said Shadebinder best class. I agree out of the stasis. But let's talk about Behemoth.
Yes.
Behemoth, it has the smooths. Like
Talk about
yeah.
the Behemoth kit. What did you want to, because you said you had like a little, you could talk for a while about it, Cammy.
It's so close. The only thing that holds it back is the supercharge in modes where you want a super to win the game, to close it out. Other than that, its neutral kit is some of the best in the game. You get to cancel the slide into your catapult lift and like Titan skate on mouse and keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use the melee to send it back the other direction and then chain it again with the catapult lift. And if you use something like Lion Rampant and Deadman's Tail, you can quite literally break some ankles with that class.
It's really nice.
You can
it's
pop
really
up
nice.
on unexpected angles with the Glacier Nade on ceilings and whatnot.
There is
it's got a fantastic it's got a fantastic skill ceiling, and also you know to balance that, it's got a fairly sizable skill floor. You know, I hope I'm using those. I was just talking to Drew about this yesterday. The way that I understand skill
the
floor
definition,
we always remember skill ceiling, but floor, we're like, wait, is it high or low floor for
it's the entry point?
Yeah,
the entry
right.
point,
But like,
exactly.
is it high floor or low floor?
So if the skill
easy?
floor is high with the entry point, it's closer to the ceiling, so therefore
That's
better.
correct.
So therefore better. Okay, got it. Yeah, that's correct.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, better is that's a relative term, you know, because ease of use, you know, in Destiny 2,
You're right,
you
in
could
terms of balance,
subjectively
you're right.
say that's better, you know, but what I do agree with you, Cammy. I love you know, a nice thick skill floor, you know, a nice high skill floor, because it just makes it more rewarding once you reach that. And then, you know, on top of that, when we talk about a skill ceiling from there, usually that skill ceiling is higher than most other subclasses. And I would agree with that with Behemoth. Behemoth is
I think it has the same like Dawnblade ceiling, where it's just the
I would
ankle
completely
breaker
agree.
class for Titan.
Mm-hmm. I would say
the other
honestly
thing is,
it
like,
has a
people
higher one. I
dread-
think it has more. I think that's honestly Behemoth has more utility in the end. I think it might actually have a slightly higher skill ceiling, but you know that's just a.
So people dread matching Behemoth because of like Hoarfrost 3 Behemoth Titans and Trials just building ice nonstop.
That's the
What I'm
basic-
suggesting
that's
is
basic
not that. It's
that's
the
not
movement
that.
Titan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excuse
Bunch
me.
of nuance like movement tech to that subclass that you can chain, and it's really nice on MK in particular, obviously. And so I was nice. It was nice to see that. Now, segueing that, unless you have something else, Cammy, segueing that into things that I've been asking for you know a bit on Hunter Stasis, right? Is I keep saying it, like I feel like the only thing that would make, because I'm always wary of Stasis coming back, honestly, if I want to just be honest about it,
Sure,
you know,
yeah, we all are.
but I do enjoy the fact that, for example, with Warlock, they're kind of doubling down on that short range, like freeze, slow kit. And so on Hunter, I've said it a bunch of times, Shatter Dive needed, you know, to have that extra fragment, first of all. And then second of all, in particular, in order to make that kit even somewhat viable, Withering Blade had to come back to a degree. And so I was really happy to see both of those changes come through for Stasis Hunter, honestly.
I'm kind of disappointed with the Withering Blade one because I previously just treated it as a surplus fuel, just make my shotgun handle better. Now that I have to consider using them, it throws a wrench in my plans.
Was Drew hyped? Has anyone talked to Drew about the
I've not talked to Drew
about
since.
Shatter Dive 2 fragment? Because I know Drew was
he's sleeping. I kept him up all night.
fair enough.
all
yeah,
night.
Drew,
All
I know
night.
Drew used to be a big
I would
big
imagine he's excited
stasis
about it
hunter,
because
yeah.
it lets you have the fissures to make the bigger explosions, which
Yeah.
makes Shatter Dive more viable, which
Mm.
means you could throw it into like stats and stuff.
And-
Hunter, it's starving on the stat builds for build crafting. We were talking about it earlier, where like Titan Shoulder Charge being tied to strength now to get it back sooner, it kind of helps balance against Hunters where they need mobility. Stasis gives you the most neutral stats between resilience, recovery, mobility. So yeah, it's noticeable. One
Yeah.
extra, it absolutely matters.
And did we cover what the change coming to the Behemoth Titan actually is?
It lets the melee travel a little bit faster and descend a little bit slower. So you stay in the air more.
Maximum thrust, I believe, is the proper term that Bungie
Maximum
used. Yeah,
overdrive.
while in flight increased by 16%, which is nice. And they're widening the freezing cone of Howl of the Storm, which is also interesting.
Howl of the Storm is typically used more with the like building a Fortnite build, the ice crystals.
Cammy,
But
I
you
know.
can still use it with Cryoclasm.
Weren't we playing together that one time? I don't even know if I should bring this up, but just to not give people ideas. I think Cammy, you and I were playing Trials one weekend when we fought a team of 3 Behemoth Stasis Titans who were all rocking.
More common these days than you think.
Really? Okay. And you know what they were rocking and you know what they were doing, and we were like, good lord with this. Like, it was the longest Trials match we've ever played. We were constantly shooting and breaking crystals. It was literally like Fortnite full build, like week 1.
It's not very interactable. You kind of have to know it's coming to prepare a counter for it. You either run Stasis Titan to slide through their shit, you run Hunter to Shatter Dive their stuff, or you just get lucky with a Wither Horde shot. You're probably going to win against this strategy more often than not, because you will have 3 supers before they do, and you'll close out the game.
That is true. But wow, that was a frustrating game.
It's still stressing.
It's frustrating, and it's a stall more than anything else.
It's a big stall. Yeah.
Yeah. They're just basically trying to frustrate you out of the game.
Basically.
You know.
Yeah.
So, is what it is. But you know,
what are you gonna do? Who do you think comes out of all these upcoming season 21 changes? Who do you think is coming out with the best changes overall? Titan, Warlock, or Hunter?
It's a tough one. I don't think, personally for me, I don't think that the changes to Hunter put it over the top, over the other classes by any means. I mean, Withering Blade is great, but still it's going to be the weakest of the stasis classes. Hunter stasis is what I'm referring to. It's great that we're getting some additional Spectral Blade hit detection. That was like overdue, honestly.
Nice.
But it's not going to make like a crazy huge, difference, obviously, to the kit. You've got the Gathering Storm buff, which I personally really, really like. I've been using that a decent amount, and I've been back on Arcstrider a bit. But again, like it's just the super. It's not as if it's the neutral game, which I feel like if the neutral game was to benefit, then we'd be talking a little bit more. I think Titan's still made out, honestly. I think
Void Titan's in a
still
big
made
plus right now. They lost the repeatable shoulder charge, but you could also maybe go the Frisbee. The Frisbee's good, and they're adding 10 damage to it. So
they're adding 10 damage.
It goes from 60 to 70.
Yeah.
That matters because that takes a hand cannon shot off the equation.
Yep. And it has pretty significant aim assist, to be honest. I mean, it's not as much as the actual like super shield toss, but and don't quote me on this, but I'm just saying that thing does hit me quite often whenever a couple of my buddies, like use it against me and
every
scrim,
time.
So
the only reason I never ran it is because shoulder charge was free, but now that it's not free, it might be good, and then with the extra fragment, devour.
And on top of that, Void Titans getting the extra fragment slot from Bastion, which most Void Titans I know in PvP run Bastion anyway.
Yep.
Void Titans do be eating good right now.
Hey, everyone's a winner with the changes to Titan.
For sure.
We all win together.
Yo, the sleeper here though on Void is Scatternades. Scatternades were already really good and kind of underrated.
I've been seeing those pop up
I think
more
that the Scatternade
and more.
change is Lego first put me back onto them, honestly. I think those changes to it are pretty substantial. I think they could be best in class come soon, especially as kind of an aggressor.
As funny as it is
I'm listening.
I was going to say, as funny as it is to hear you say that, I'm inclined to agree, because like the Achilles heel of those scatter grenades for a long time is that they just get in their own way and they just kind of like they glitch out or they collide with each other.
That's
and
just what I was about to say.
Yeah, like it's if they could just get out of their own way, they'd be really good. Like there have been situations where people throwing at me and I'm like, what a waste of a nade, what a joke. And there have been other times when people throw, but like the RNG is, you know, when you get a shotgun shot or a fusion rifle shot and the RNG is just perfect, and like they throw the scatter nade at you and like the scatter RNG is perfect, and I'm like, damn, I just got effed up by a scatter nade. Like just I didn't see it coming.
So hear me out. We formally tested this because we had a friend who wanted to run Nothing Manacles last week. It's a throw to put on Nothing Manacles. Like, it makes
100%
them
a throw.
worse,
It makes them
not
worse.
better.
It makes them worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they could fix those gauntlets, it would be really great. I'm planning on testing. I really want to test that in season 21. But
Yeah, and hopefully that's you know, with them reworking some exotics. I haven't seen anything about that, but hopefully with them reworking some exotics or quite a few exotics for next season,
sure.
and hopefully that's on the plate, considering the fact that they've adjusted the actual base grenade itself.
Good call.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions from the community? I know a lot of these questions from the community we've already covered in terms of like they asked about topics that we went over on the show tonight. But if there are any additional questions, if we want to comb through and maybe find one or two that maybe speak to you. Oh, actually, there was one that was asked a bunch on Twitter. Got to bring it up to Tony here. Tony, could you enlighten us real quick? We'll put on our tinfoil hats.
Oh,
can you talk,
I know this is coming. This is coming.
Can you talk to us about counterbalance on shotguns, which I think was first asked on Twitter by Kirby Phillips. Thank you, Kirby. Tell me about counterbalance on shotguns, Tony.
I don't know. Shotguns have been in such a struggle bus place for like a minute. Again, hand cannon shotgun person. I just need it to kill when I'm on mark, right? And I mean, I'm talking about god roll shotguns,
Sure.
We've just been doing anything possible. Recoil and like that recoil stat visually, again, this is Lego calls it a ghost story, and generally I'm inclined to agree. So please, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I will kind of like give you my anecdotal experience, but this is by no means, like a scientific. This is me.
I respect it. I respect it.
I'm the experienced guy. I go in, and I just play the game.
Feel it out.
And I get a feel for what's working, what's not, and I kind of just like adapt as we go. And so
Sure.
I don't know. I will refrain from saying what I think is possibly the science behind it, because I don't know. Anecdotally,
Okay.
what I'm thinking is, okay, counterbalance, okay. It's improving the recoil direction, maybe. I don't know. It's maybe giving me a little bit of flinch resistance, a little additional flinch resistance, so maybe my shotgun's staying on target. I don't know. But I do feel like on lightweight shotguns in particular, I'm hitting my shot more consistently. It's one hit killing more consistently, specifically on Without Remorse. Without Remorse is a GOAT shotgun for me right now. It does not matter the character that I'm on. And I run it with rifled, max range otherwise, elemental capacitor because I've been running a lot of arc. But threat detector is plenty fast, to be honest. Even with rifle barrel, it's plenty fast, even if you aren't on well, I wouldn't say that actually, because I actually run knock 'em down on solar. So nonetheless, but it's been working out, and I've put it on a couple of other lightweights in particular. And I say lightweights because you've got some forgiveness, right, with other shotgun frames. Specifically, I'm talking about aggressives, the found verdicts. I mean, you just have more impact, right? So therefore, you've got a little forgiveness in, missing maybe a pellet or two or something like that, or maybe being a little bit out of range. So you've got a little bit of a damage fall off, maybe versus some common resilience points. Lightweights, you really don't have, right? Lightweights and rapid frames in particular, you really don't have that leeway. So when I put counterbalance, for example, on my aggressive frames, I didn't notice any difference. But that also could be the fact that there's a lot of forgiveness in the actual frames themselves. So again, ghost stories, I do, like this,
I'm gonna let him cook, because I
Dude,
remember
let
that
him.
shotguns come out in like a wave of pellets.
exactly,
And if they still
right?
do, maybe there's some truth to that. And at the very, very least, if it doesn't affect the shotgun itself, it for sure affects switching to your primary to clean up the shotgun. Because whatever gun you use leaches the recoil onto the next gun if you can swap quick enough.
Do you know what's
I
really
remember we
funny?
talking about that a while back.
I respect all of the craziness that you just spit out because you preempted all of it right up front with like, this is purely anecdotal. Don't know if it's bullshit or not. I'm gonna just tell you from my experience. The only problem I have is when people come at me like, no, dude, it's totally true. Trust me, man. Like my brother's roommate's nephew, he's like all
Radar
about
tuner,
it, man.
it makes it more consistent. Like, are you sure about that?
And you know what? You know what? At this point in the lifespan of D2, we've seen so much random jank, right? We've seen things like turning the barrel length mattering on a shotgun. We've seen turning down the frame rate, making the colony better. Like it's just there's so much jank tied in to the code of D2. You know, at this point, it might be entirely possible. Counterbalance might just be the goated pick. Who knows at this point? I don't know. Really don't. It's just funny.
Yeah, I will definitely say, in my experience, Counterbalance has made a significant difference on my Without Remorse in particular. I can't say as much about my other. There's some other there's some other shotguns, rapid fire and lightweights in particular, that I want to mess around with it. I want to mess around with it a little bit more on my precision, specifically on my God Roll Matador, and see what happens with that. On my Reese Walker, I actually don't run. It's like a God Roll Reese Walker. I don't run Counterbalance specifically because I double down on hip fire grip because on freehand grip because it has hip fire grip on it. So I just double down on that basically. And I feel like that's pretty consistent. And then what is it on my other one? And on my Wastelander, because of the extra animation, right? Similar to Chaperone, I actually use quick access sling. So, you know, I haven't had access to it on these other ones because, you know, they're consistent enough and I need to double down on what they're actually, you know, what they need or what they're good at with regards to the freehand grip. But, you know, still some anecdotal like testing. It'd be great. It'd be cool if, you know, something came out of it. But I do feel like without remorse, and people have said, you know, they come back and said, hey, you know, Without Remorse, specifically how you said, you know, to equip it, you know, seems something significant.
It's
but
really funny.
Anecdotal.
But you know what? I dig it. I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna goof around, see what happens. Maybe it'll be the missing key. I don't know. Who knows?
We need something for shotguns, bro.
We need something, dude.
That's where it came from. That's where it came from. That's where it
desperation.
Absolute desperation, 100%. And the last thing I'll say about it as well is you know, whenever a lot of people come through the stream and they mention you know Yerda, Fallout, of course. I can't remember if that's how you pronounce their name. But yes. You know, like there's also something to be said for and something valid about you know, folks that go out there and just shoot their shotgun, you know, in a bunch of different movements, you know, a bunch of different positions, against a bunch of different guardians under a lot of different conditions, whether it be desync or otherwise. And so there's something valid about that as well. And I just, you know, try to share that experience because I am a shotgun, you know, like scientist in the actual game.
God love you.
Yeah.
Hand cannon shotgun, a man after my own heart. But man, this is what we call perfect timing, I would say. Tony, it's been great having you on the show. Thank you so much again for coming on in short notice. Really wish we could have both you and Drew here together. We're gonna have to set that up for the future.
Oh man, we go back and forth, I tell you.
I can't wait. But in the meantime, Cool Guy and Cammy, I think we can agree that if in the future we're fortunate enough to get someone from Bungie on the show again to maybe talk about future stuff, especially if that certain individual might not be wearing sleeves. I think Counterbalance shotgun might be a front-loaded question that I would be really excited to ask.
I'm super curious.
Yeah, but any final thoughts before wrapping up tonight's episode, gentlemen?
No, I think we covered a lot of ground.
Hell yeah. God, I am just so into watching these dogs in the background, man. They just...
Me too.
Yeah.
I
hey,
keep
bro,
cracking
straight
a
up,
smile.
you know, like when we're talking on the phone, like you see why I can't get anything done, right? Like you're witnessing
I
it.
literally see it right now.
You're literally witnessing it.
Dude, it's like they're
both,
giving me life. They're so
like,
adorable.
In this particular, they're hungry.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get it.
Yeah. Anyway.
We'll do it.
Let's go around the table and let people know where they can find us when we're not here on the show. Cammy, where can the people find you when we're not here?
Let's go with youtube.com/CammyCakesGaming, and
Beautiful.
I'll call it at that one.
Lovely. By the way, Cammy, I'm going to GCX this year. So
Same.
love it. I'll be in your neck of the woods. Let's hang out. Cool guy. Where can the people find you?
Twitter and YouTube, Cool Guy Games.
Atom boy. Tony, where can the people at home find you?
Mainly on Twitch and on Twitter, and also in the Discord as well. If Ill Physics on all of that.
Nice. And I'm Fallout. You can find me on youtube.com/FalloutPlays. Pretty much anything, Twitch, Twitter, at FalloutPlays. I'll be there. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Peace.
Bye.